Welcome back. We're going to talk today about a subject that all of you know by experience if you've been in youth ministry more than a week, and that is that ministry doesn't always go as planned.
You can say that again, Tiger.
It's always full of surprises, isn't it? And some of them are frustrating. The bus blows a tire, or Jimmy John's doesn't deliver. I know, it happens at times. Other times it's good stuff. Kids really share. They take too long in group and now you're off the calendar. But we've given you some tools in these sessions, but the fact is surprises are going to happen.
There are no guarantees in this work, is there, Tiger?
No, we've been doing this a long time, and whether it's a blown tire, stuck on the side of the road with 12 teenagers at a hotel reservation, doesn't hold your reservation, surprises happen. And they just are things you can't control.
But they don't always have to be negative.
No.
In fact, sometimes the surprises are that young people are motivated and they really want to study the Bible more. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Yeah, but it still catches us off guard. And not all is lost because we can flex. Kids can flex, but it really comes back to who we are as leaders.
But you know what? Flexibility can't be taught.
I know. I think about that all the time, that sometimes we're not asking you not to care about the details. But we need to remember that kids are the ones that matter the most. And sometimes we just get caught up in the details and forget about it. I remember I was on a mission trip. You get everything planned. Certain days, God's going to show up on Thursday. You've got it all scheduled. Totally. And I'm driving with a van full of kids, and we're going through the Appalachian Mountains. And in my rearview mirror, I look and watch the trailer disappear into the ditch. And I knew that things were going to not go as planned that day. And I got out of the car, and I thought I had covered my tendency to focus on the details, to worry about things all those years in ministry. And then I got out of the van, and I was tense, and my jaw was tight, and I was walking around to check on where the trailer was, and I heard a senior in my youth group say this to the group. Now, kids, remember two things. Number one, don't get out of the van unless Tiger tells you it's okay. And number two, don't ask any stupid questions. He hates that. And I know at that moment I was busted because I was a person that thought that I was flexible, and in some respects I was, but I was lost in that moment in the details and I had forgotten. So I turned to the kids in the van, and we piled out of the van, and we had a great experience in the ditch, recovering our stuff, finding a neighbor who was willing to help us, and that trip took on a different flavor. But it was the senior who taught me it's about the kids. It's not about all the details.
Tiger, that reminds me of a story. When I was in high school, I was with a group of students on a backpacking trip, and we were hiking through over a pass, and the switchbacks were covered with snow. And one of my friends lost her footing and tumbled down a really steep bank. And the rest of us just had to stand there and watch her tumble head over her backpack and land at the bottom. And after a long minute or two, we, with deep breath, waited for her to move, and of course she did. She was alive and nothing had been broken. But then we had to figure out what to do. We had 2 days left to be out backpacking, and we quickly had to readjust our plan as well. Yes. We had 2 adults and we had about 8 kids, and we figured we had to hike her out, and we had to figure out who was going to take her and so she could get some medical attention. And through all of that, you might imagine that it was a memorable trip. And while a lot of the details didn't go as planned, she did get hiked out and got to safety. But these are the 2 things that I remember out of that. First, that safety is always more important than the plan. Yeah. We had to readjust all kinds of things and look at what resources do we had. We as the kids had to step up into leadership and do a number of things to help make that happen. And the second thing was that the leader, how they were going to, their posture is what I remember. Yeah. They decided to step in and hold the best interests of the group and get us together and kind of rally, give us opportunity to lead. And while it wasn't maybe the most ideal situation, in this case, we took a lot out of that trip, and it was a memorable time for us.
Another thing to always think about in the midst of surprises is this is about discipleship. Remember, we've been talking about that, helping kids grow in their faith. So where is God in this? This is about helping them interpret and understand and be aware of the fact that God is present, to really trust it And we as leaders to trust it in real life and real situations.
Well, and sometimes it's more a real life example that kids can take into their real life.
Yeah, that old phrase, this is the moment, usually when that phrase, truths are more caught than taught,
Yes,
is in the midst of
exactly.
surprise. It's not on a worksheet. And so we can't give you a worksheet on surprises. I mean, even in this editing of this, the battery went out halfway through. And that's a good thing, but
right.
The fact is we have power of editing. You may not even notice where that was. But in real life, you don't have the power of editing. You have to learn to talk together about the subject. You see what uncovers in the midst of surprises. Some of us are wired for flexibility. Some are wired for control. And it'll be tough, but you're going to get a chance to talk about this in your session.
And ministry is messy, and life is messy. But that's actually part of the gift.
Yes.
Is to join into, and it doesn't have to be perfect,
Yeah.
but to be right there and to look for the God in the midst of it. Where's God showing up?
So whatever trip you're going to take, whatever things you're going to do, get ready for a surprise. You can't schedule it, you can't plan for it, but you have to uncover it as you go. And kids will remember how you control it, how you deal with it. Like Terri said in her example, the leader sets the tone. So good luck with it, talk in your groups, and let's see what we can uncover in the surprises of your life.